Can you survive the maximum 999 damage in Castle Crashers? Right, so with a level 99 character as well as the Evil Sword and Snellbert, it looks like you can survive the maximum damage. And that is the first out of 21 myths we will be busting in Castle Crashers. Alright, so the next one says you can skip the turrets in Tallgrass Fields without destroying them. And as long as you are level 8, you can do the fly combo, allowing you to fly over and skipping the turrets. Or if you're extremely lucky, you could also get in this pixel perfect frame and just walk right past them. Our next myth says that you can die before kissing the final princess. And if we stand in front of this thief here, we can actually die before kissing the final princess. Moving on to the next myth, and this one says you can heal other players as the king. And if I get all the playable characters as close to the king as possible, it looks like the king can heal other people. But when it comes to NPCs, the king cannot. Our next myth says that the skeletons in Lava World will have different health depending on their armor. And when testing, I actually found this one to be true. So the regular skeleton with the Thieves' Sword took 9 hits to defeat, whereas the skeleton with the Brute armor took 12 hits to defeat. Now this Brute skeleton was using the Skeletor Mace, which gives a +3 defense boost. But after testing it on a plain skeleton with the same weapon, I found that it made no difference. So myth confirmed. Our next Castle Crasher myth says that you can avoid death from a fatal hit when playing as the king. And by activating the king's splash magic right before you take that fatal damage, you can in fact survive. But do be aware that this timing is very strict. The next myth says that you can skip the end of Tallgrass Fields and go straight into PP Shrello's cave. So after entering Burly Bear's cave, I exited to the map, and for some strange reason, the game placed me over PP Shrello's cave. And despite having a lock symbol, I could load into this level and skip the end part of Tallgrass Fields. So myth confirmed. The next Castle Crasher myth says that the Necromancer can crit you despite having the Evil Sword. And after getting beat up more than my toilet on Taco Tuesday, you can in fact get critted by the Necromancer, which shouldn't really happen since the Evil Sword has no crit bonus. Well, thanks to this explanation from
Zombie,
it turns out that the Necromancer can indeed spawn with weapons that have a crit bonus. But this process is internal and the visual will always be the Evil Sword. So myth confirmed. Our next myth says that dying once or twice reduces the amount of enemies on the Full Moon level. So I loaded into Full Moon and got to the ladder section without dying. This resulted in me having to fight 12 Stovefaces before I could move on to the Eskimos. But when repeating Full Moon after a few deaths, I only had to fight 7 Stovefaces. So if you're struggling on Full Moon, then don't forget to take a few deaths. Our next myth says that Grey Knight's Elemental Infusion does less damage than other non-elemental infusions. And when testing on this Saracen, you can see the Grey Knight do 68 damage. But when I do the exact same attack with the open face Grey Knight, I get 170 damage. Now the reason behind this is that all non-elemental characters get armor pierce as their infusion, which is double your base magic damage added on to double your melee damage. Yet, for some strange reason, the Grey Knight has a elemental infusion called Magic Enhanced Hit, which is just the base magic damage added onto the base melee damage. So yeah, myth confirmed. The next myth says that you can enter Industrial Castle before reaching the Lava World store. Now you need to get sandwiches in order to enter the Industrial Castle. These are first acquired at the Lava World store. But when playing Insane mode, you can actually carry these sandwiches over into your new playthrough, meaning you can enter Industrial Castle straight out of PP Shrello's cave. Myth confirmed. On the pirate ship, the second wave of ninjas will spawn even if you do not beat the first. And after waiting around for a little bit, the second wave of ninjas did in fact spawn. Myth confirmed. The next myth says that the alien ship will always be 1 escape pod short when playing multiplayer. And when playing as a 2, there will always be 1 escape pod, 3 players will be 2 escape pods, and 4 players be 3. Those are some petty aliens. Myth confirmed. Whilst we're in the alien ship, our next myth says that more than 1 person can enter an escape pod. And if both players are close enough, it looks like you can both enter the escape pod. Myth confirmed. The next myth takes place during the volleyball game, where you can apparently die by the enemies. And after playing the most violent game of volleyball I have ever seen, you can in fact die. Myth confirmed. The next myth says that the bowfire speed doesn't change past the max agility level in skill points. And after testing the bow with no enhancements and then maximum enhancements, the bow speed definitely does increase the more agility you have past the max skill points. I also tested and it does increase the speed the actual arrow travels. So myth busted. Our next myth says that there is no cap to the amount of gold you can gain. And with the help of zombie and cheat commands, there is in fact a cap. That being 2,147,483,647. That would take you over 15 years to farm. Oh, and if you're also curious, picking up a gold coin when you're at the cap causes you to go into generations worth of debt. So with help from Zombie, this myth is busted. Our next myth is in Thieves Forest, where you can apparently keep the first Thieves bush on the screen for the entire level. So when encountering this bush thief, you would normally break the bush upon first contact. But by using Blue Knight's ice, you could actually kill the thief without destroying the bush. This would cause the bush to appear on later thieves throughout the level, meaning myth confirmed. So apparently on the catfish boss fight, you can go into the far left of the screen and the catfish can't punch you. And hey, would you look at that? Myth confirmed. Our next myth says that the blacksmith disappears when you're playing as the blacksmith. Now this one is more common sense than a myth, but still to this day, people don't think they're the same character. But anyway, the blacksmith appears at the blacksmith when playing every character in the game. Except from the blacksmith, as when you go to the blacksmith isn't there. Okay, this is confusing. Myth confirmed. And our final myth says that enemies on full moon cannot attack you when you are on the ladders. And as we can see here, the enemies are all just standing below me, awkwardly watching me. I mean, they try to shoot their arrows, but yeah, they can't attack me. However, when you move down the ladder, they can actually hit you off it, meaning it really depends on where you are. So myth bust firmed? Anyway guys, that was 21 myths in Castle Crashers. And if you have any of your own Castle Crasher myths, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.